Hello and welcome to this lesson in awakening, which I am calling, What is your divinity and how can you express it? Excuse me. Only because I get asked. I use the word divinity a lot. It's a really big subject, and I doubt whether I can do it justice. And I'm sure there'll be lots of other points of view as well. If you feel like sharing, then please do in the comments. But I'm just going to do it from the perspective that I see it and how I view it. What is your divinity? Divinity, you're divine. You are a divine being of love and light. You are a fractal of source energy. You might want to use the creator word, or you might want to use God as a word. You know, a lot of people, choose different words, but the source of all creation, you are part of that. It's almost like it's a firework and we are the sparks. So we're made of the same material as the creative force, the force that made the mountains and the seas and the animals and all of nature, and all of us. We're made of that energy. And that energy is pure love and pure creative life force, I want to say. And that's our core being. That's what we are in our core. That we are that part of the whole. So therefore, all the power and all the love of God is within each and every one of us. So when I say your divinity, expressing your divinity, I mean expressing that part of you, the highest part of you, your highest self, your God self, the part of you that is most connected to source. All of you is source energy, but what happens in the density of the physical world is we create, as human, in our human experience, we create blocks through our choices, and through our unconscious behavior. I could say negative behavior. When I say negative behavior, I don't mean that anyone is evil, or, I mean, some people might be, not if you're watching this video. I don't mean negative as in bad, wrong, evil, When I say negative, I mean, that's where I use the word unconscious, because I just mean when we make choices and we behave in a manner that is not in alignment with that divinity, that is not in alignment with our highest good. And we often do that, obviously, and we usually do it unconsciously because we're not aware that we're doing it. When we make certain choices, we're not aware, because we're not aware that we are divine, and we're not aware that our abundance of joy, health, happiness, love, all of it lies in our expression of our divinity, because we weren't taught that, of course. So we often make choices to be safe, and they're often choices that are born out of fear on some level. A lot of choices are made out of fear, especially if they're money orientated, or if they're keeping you small, it's trying to keep you safe. But very often that's not what your soul came here to do. So when we talk about your divinity, we can also talk about what your soul came here to do, because your soul incarnated in its beautiful uniqueness, right? Because we are all one from source, but we're all so unique, and our souls have chosen to express ourselves through that uniqueness. And yet we have been indoctrinated at school to all wear a uniform and all be the same and all behave the same, really the opposite of what our soul's intention was, to be different. We've chosen to be different and to celebrate the differences in each other. We need everyone to be different, because we need to work together, humanity working together through love and divine creation. So we celebrate the uniqueness of everybody, because how are we going to create communities, loving and cooperative communities, if we're all the same? It doesn't work, does it? So basically, your divinity is, I want to say the part of you that is source, but as I said, all of you is source. But in our human experience, we have blocked our, I want to say God spark. It's a term we use in soul realignment. The God spark is basically like an umbilical cord that connects you to source energy. But our choices and unconscious behaviors can often block, can cause energetic blocks in that umbilical cord, in that God spark, which then limits our connection to source. So we become unconscious, we become less aware of who we really are, and we lose touch with that divine connection. And that's what we're getting back now in the Great Awakening. That's what the Great Awakening is all about. Lessons in awakening, waking up to your divinity and all of who you are. So primarily your love, right? So our choices need to come from a place of love, but also within that love, there's safety, there's security because of the trust and the faith, you know, all these beautiful words, the peace, the harmony, the joy, but we haven't been brought up to trust in the universe like that, to trust in ourselves, to trust in our divinity and our expression of it. So it appears in our human experience as a need to take a leap of faith. That's why we call it faith, right? You have to have faith because we need to take what can look like risks. But when you are understanding that it's coming from your heart, it's coming from your soul, because your soul is talking to you through your heart, not through your programmed mind. We use our mind to carry out the wishes of the soul from the heart. So you follow your heart and then carry out that guidance using your mind, right? Rather than the other way around, rather than following the restrictive nature of the mind. You know, better not do that. You haven't got enough money, or you better not do that. You don't know where it's going to lead to. No, you don't know where it's going to lead to. Of course you don't. It's a reawakening. um, so your divinity is that part of you. Now, we've been so programmed that some of us have lost touch with the things that bring us the most joy. So over time, we do naturally tap in to our divine nature because we usually have the time and resources in order to do what we love. And that takes us towards it, because the things that you came here to do are actually the things that you love doing. Life was never meant to be a struggle. Hard work is a ridiculous phrase. There could be a lot of work, but it's easy work when you're in alignment with what you're meant to be doing, what your soul wants you to be doing. So if you're a musician, for example, and you've been told, you know, well, you can play your instrument at the weekend, get a proper job. Go and get a proper job and make some proper money. You know, it's like, no, your soul wants you to play music. Your soul wants you to explore your own evolution through creating music and lyrics and sharing that with others, as an example. So yeah, you need to do more of it. So you'll find that anyone that is a musician, that if they're feeling low, it's so important that they pick up their instrument and start playing, because that's where your healing is going to be found. Your own personal healing will be found in your gifts. And remember, it was Pablo Picasso, wasn't it, who said the purpose of life, no, the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. So we find our gift, we use it for our own expansion, and then we share it with others. So I'm just going to run through a few, just in case you're a little bit not sure what your gifts might be, loosely based on the qualities from soul realignment, because of course you can have a soul reading, link in the description. But some people, their qualities we can often see our qualities as they can go against us if we're not aware of how to use them. I'll use myself as an example, because I'm dominant in Fifth Energy Center, which we're the speakers, we're the talkers. And when I was growing up, I was told I was the chatterbox, I was talkative, be quiet, Deborah, be quiet, Deborah. And when I was a teenager, I tried so hard at parties not to talk too much. I mean, I was completely trying to go against my divinity. Fifth energy centers need to talk or write. It could be communication of any form. So it could be writing, um, expressing themselves, usually through blogs and vlogs and things like that. So they are the video people. And this is a perfect example of me just doing this video. I have a chance to talk about what I want to talk about, but without having to bore anybody, because if you're bored, you just switch me off, right? So it serves. So there's an example of how you can, use your gifts, how they can work against you if you're not aware of how to use them. Okay. And we want to be able to use them in the positive polarity. So you could be, your gift could be catering to the basic needs of others. You could be like a natural nurse. There are a lot of people like that around. These are the kind of people that, bring you a cup of tea before you even realize that you needed one. It's a gift. These are the people that can hold the hand of someone that's dying, and say the right words and just be the right energy. I want to say, be the right energy. They're very good with animals and people that can't look after themselves, the sick, the needy, the elderly, the newborns, so they make very good nurses, companions, hospice workers, charity workers, of course. Um, because they're very good at catering to the basic needs of others. Now, if you have that desire, you feel it inside of you, that you want to do charity work, you want to house all the animals in the world, and you just have a natural ability to cater to people. So you'll probably be good at cooking or something like that. And if that's the case, then you just need to be doing more of it. It's a case of that is your divinity and express more of it somehow. Where can you do it more? Get together with other people and be the person catering to them. Where can you go and help people that are poorly? Can you do voluntary work in a hospice? It's a case of identifying that gift within you. You could be very good with your hands. You could be really good with needlework or making models or carpentry or something like that. And you do it as a hobby, and you really enjoy it. But can you expand that? Because you know how comforted you feel when you're in that creative flow. So is there a way that you can then create something and give it to somebody else? Maybe you can expand upon that and then start selling. Maybe you can sell it online. I mean, it's about finding out what you're good at. Maybe you can swap stuff. Maybe you can make furniture for somebody and then you do swapsies. But if it's making you feel good, maybe you're painting pictures, maybe you're a really good artist, maybe you're really good at organizing other people, but then you need to create channels whereby you can organize events and things so that you don't end up organizing your loved ones who don't want to be organized. It's going to work against you if you don't find channels whereby you can express these qualities within you. You might be a healer. You might just notice that, you're very good at listening, and holding space for people to maybe you're not judgmental, and they can offload onto you and they feel so much better afterwards. Maybe you just notice that you can put your hands on people and they feel better, and maybe you're just learning these healing modalities and you're finding them really easy and you just want to share them with other people, and maybe you just have this ridiculous amount of love and you just want to love other people. It's a gift, it's a quality, but we need to find channels whereby you can express that quality. Otherwise, you'll start smothering the people that you're living with, and your nearest and dearest, and you don't want to do that. So it's really important to create a channel or more than one where you can actually, express these qualities that are inside of you. So if you are a talker, for example, and you're being told to shut up all the time, well, then write a blog, write a book, keep a journal, But, maybe start a channel, maybe you're writing poetry or something. Can you express that down on paper or speaking? Can you find someone that's, find a group of people that are interested in what you're interested in and give talks? Go around, there's lots of wellness groups around. So you can go around and give talks to people, and use those gifts rather than trying to shut them down because certain people aren't appreciating them. It's up to us to find the right channels in order to express what's coming through. You might also be very like a whistleblower, you might be able to see the truth in situations and then share the truth. That's a gift as well. A lot of people can't see, the truth, or falsehood, so, yeah, seeing the truth in a situation or seeing the truth in people of who they really are, rather than seeing that as a negative thing, is there a way you can use that? It's one of my dominant ones as well, which is why I do the soul readings and I do the intuitive card readings, because I can feel and see the truth of people's divinity, and their infinite potential. And that's important that people know all of this stuff, whereas, of course, when I was younger, I would tell people the truth and they didn't always want to hear it. People don't always want to hear the truth, you know, especially when you're a teenager at school. So, finding a situation and channels in your life whereby you can actually, tell the truth to people who are open to hearing it. Or you might be a leader, you might just naturally be able to lead people, I mean, in its negative polarity, you might be able to manipulate people very easily. If you've grown up realizing how easy it is to manipulate people, which of course is getting people to do what you want them to do for your own benefit, then, can you flip that over into leading people, which will mean getting people to do things for the benefit of all, their benefit, your benefit, the benefit of the community, the benefit of the collective. So if you have those leading abilities, leadership qualities, then find channels whereby you can get groups together and lead, and guide other people in some way. And you might be a source of wisdom, and just want to share that. So are there places you can go, like have interviews with people? There's lots of people doing podcasts at the moment, looking for words of wisdom from people, so you can share that way. So many different gifts. I've just run through a few of them. But, maybe you love planting and you're good at gardening and you're just particularly good with growing flowers and fruits and vegetables and you just love getting your fingers dirty in the soil. That's not my gift. But I know a lot of people who do that. And maybe you don't have a garden, Can you go and find a community garden? Can you go and work in somebody else's garden? And then can you share your produce? If it's a gift and it's something that brings you joy and it's an expression of your soul, then that's your divinity. And that's how to express it, by finding ways in which you can bring it into your life more. Because once you take a step towards what your soul wants you to do, there is this amazing abundant path that opens up, but you have to have faith. Let's use an example. It's somebody who's feeling quite low or depressed at the moment. And then you say, okay, so what was your biggest dream? What would you love to do? Right? And he turns around and says, I'd love to sail around the world. And you think, wow, okay, you'd love to sail around the world. Not everybody has that dream. I know there's a number of people that do. And from that depressed place, that sounds like it's not feasible, doesn't it? It sounds like it's not feasible. But from that depressed place, the reason that they're feeling depressed is because they're not living their divinity. They're blocking themselves. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have the resources. I don't even live near a harbor. All these things. But these things can change. It's a big step. Here we go. The leap of faith. And it's a bit like, I'm going to share my screen actually, because you have to kind of let's use this as an example. Um, So if you're depressed, you're in a state of suffering and contraction, and you're here, apathy, I would say, is where depression is, okay? And there's a lot of despair energy down here. And your ability to create is really low because your life force is blocked. But if you have to go through this kind of fear stage, so you have to face your fears. So let's take this person that wants to sail around the world. How do they get themselves from that depressed state? The first thing to do would be just to go and visit a harbor, I would say, somehow. Share with a friend or a loved one and go and visit. You can use any example you like. I'm going to use this sailing around the world example, but it's just an example, okay? So you can put in your own dream, your own soul's dream. But you can just go visit a harbor, and then just smell the harbour and sit there and absorb the energy of the harbour. Look at the different boats. Fill up your energy field. Remember that everything is energy. You are an energy ball. The boats are energy balls. Everybody down there is focused around the frequency of sailing, so you can just watch. Now, you might have some jealousy or some envy come up because, you're just watching them and you're seeing all these people coming on and off their boats, but you're in the frequency of it. And then from that frequency, you're creating your reality. So your reality will be in alignment a lot more already with your dreams because everything is energy. So the boats and the people, your ideas, your inspiration, it's all connected. So the frequency is going to be in the right area. So then you're going to meet people. So then the next step might be to offer voluntary work. Can you do some voluntary work on somebody's boat? And then there might be a big leap of faith whereby you actually move and find a place to live down by the harbour once you've got yourself a little, maybe a part-time job or something. But it's about filling yourself up with the frequency of that you want. And then just being grateful for it in every now moment. So from there, you're going to then meet the right people. You'll know which bars to go to get the right jobs and the resources that you need. And, it will grow. You're giving the universe an opportunity to bring you your dream, because the truth is the universe is you, your higher self wants to bring you your dream. Your higher self came here to express your divinity, and your higher self wants you to do that. It's trying to bring it in. It's your human that's kind of blocking it. So you need to get through this fearful stage. So here's a desire. You have a desire to do it, but then there comes this pride of I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, and the anger that you're not in a situation whereby you can do what you want. But you really need to push yourself through this bit, because look, it does take courage. It takes absolute courage for someone that's really depressed to even get on a train and go to the nearest harbour. That's courage, but you're pushing yourself. Can you see how your frequency is rising as you do this? And you might be angry that all these people have beautiful boats and you don't, but that's okay. That's just your ego, right? So when you get this courage and you can find, you've got a bit of willingness, it will take you up to willingness. So you can be willing to do some voluntary work. You could be willing to meet new people, put yourself out there, maybe willing to be penniless for a while because you've just rented a place down by the harbour and you've got no money, but just willing to take a risk, take a gamble, because you're following your heart. And look, each time you're going up into a more and more expanded state of being. This willingness is the gateway to love. Then you're going to meet the right people and get a full-time job on a boat. Then you're going to meet somebody else who wants to buy a boat. And then together you can save up and buy your boat. And then maybe you go and have sailing lessons. They're going to be expensive as well. So you're going to just have to have the courage and the willingness. But then maybe you teach sailing to others. you know, and then you're sailing around the world. You get there because that's your love, that's your joy, that's where you find the most peace, out there on the ocean, you know. And but it's about working your way up. This chart, I'm going to show you the wider chart as well, to show you how there are some other factors in there in expressing your divinity. So look, if you have a look at this one, this is the line that we've just been looking at, and this is the frequency, and there's your crossover point between contraction and expansion. But if you have a look, I mean, here in the apathy, you know, your view of life is hopeless, you know, and your view of God is that he's condemning you. You're living in a state of despair. Okay, you can see these other energies that are at the same frequency. So that's why it's so important to get your frequency up here. Just going to visit the harbor, you might think it's pointless, it's expensive, you know, you've got no one to go with, you've got anxiety because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, you're feeling withdrawal because everyone around you seems to be so busy and occupied and you know, happy maybe. And you've got this despondency going on, but you're still raising your frequency a little bit. It's quite frightening to get yourself from a depressed state into doing something like that. You know, you might think that God is denying you, you know, your dreams. And that, you know, your view of life is that everything's disappointing, but you've made that jump from here to here. And that's an important one, just by no understanding that you need to do something. You need to take a step in the direction of your dream, whatever it may be. And then here you can get this, you know, you're in a demanding situation now because, you know, you need resources. And what are you going to do when you get to the harbor? You know, suddenly you're scared, right? But then you have to have this courage. You have to have the faith. You know, you have to be a little bit aggressive inside. You know, you need to kind of like fight a little bit. I don't normally use that word, but because things are quite demanding, but it's you need to have a little bit of pride in yourself. And it's like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And you don't know where it's leading. You don't know where it's leading. But just know, look at the chart, know that it's taking you to a place of empowerment. It's taking you to a place where things are feasible, you know, and suddenly God seems quite permitting now. Can you see the difference? When you get up here, this is the turning point. This is what you want. You've got things that are actually feel satisfactory, which is massive progress after feeling hopeless and, you know, apathy and depressed. You had your faith. Look, there's trust. And suddenly things become quite optimistic and you can set your intentions. Can you see that? And you're feeling quite hopeful. And now you realize that life is actually, you know, inspiring, and that, you know, God is enabling you. You're actually managing through your own willingness to go through all of that. You actually have now created a beautiful state of being, you know, and things are becoming quite harmonious. There's acceptance and forgiveness, and this is where a lot of soul growth occurs before you can expand into this love up here. But here, people are living a meaningful life, a life of love. This is the heart chakra. I'm going to talk more about that chart in a later video. So I don't want to go on too much about that now, but I wanted to use it as an example of somebody feeling really depressed and not knowing where to turn. And I know you don't all want to go sailing around the world, but it is hopefully you'll be able to put in your own dreams into that piece and see how you can move yourself forward. So understanding that if it's your dream, it's coming through you. It is your divinity, and it's coming to you for a reason. And you have come here at this time of the Great Awakening to express that divinity and to carry out those dreams, because they're your dreams for a reason. You know, they're your, and make sure, the only thing we have to make sure of is that our dreams are coming from the heart and not from the ego, because obviously the way that we've been brought up has been very money orientated. So we might have some childhood dreams of making a lot of money. and driving a certain type of car, or having a house in 5 different countries, or something like that, which can be a divine dream. But, if that desire and that dream has come from your programming and come from the ego because you want to feel better than others, or because you're getting your sense of security from having that financial backup, then that's not divine, because your security and your freedom come from within. And trust me, they come in abundance when you take a step towards what your soul wants you to do. So I hope that's helped you. That's your divinity. It's what you came here to do. How to express it, taking the first step. The next step will come. The next step will come. But making sure that you allow yourself channels in your life whereby you can bring in whatever it is that makes you feel good. And you can just do it on a small basis at first. So when I was a full-time school teacher, and I started learning the emotion code and the body code, and I started doing these healing modalities, and I was learning them and offering them in the weekends and the evenings and the mornings before school sometimes. Saturday mornings were my really busy time, and things just changed for me. I wasn't partying on a Friday night because I wanted to be clear-minded for working with clients on a Saturday morning. And then it just got to the stage where something had to give. And it was a massive leap of faith. Of course it was. But, I wasn't going to go backwards and give up the energy healing. I knew it was the school that had to go. And I was following my heart. And I just felt driven to do more. So you can start off, I couldn't imagine. Right. When I started learning the emotion code, I couldn't imagine running the garden retreat. There was no way I could have imagined that. But I could imagine just learning it part-time and just working with my loved ones. I just started small. And then the more you do it, the more the universe will bring you what you need, even if it's a buyer for your house, and give you the confidence to leave the day job, and then the clients come, and you have to have trust, you have to have faith, but the universe will bring it to you when you take that first step. And then the universe will bring you your second step. And with your second step will come more that you need. And with your third step, will come more that you need. And that's how it goes. So I am sending you so much love. Please continue to shine your divinity and express it through your human experience, and live your soul's desires, and live in an abundance of love and peace and joy and security and freedom and all those wonderful energies. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you in the next lesson in awakening. Bye for now.